How you doing? Mr. DJ back to the early 60s outsourced Billboard's Hot 100 for my Sock Hop Years channel, YouTube channel, the week of April 27th, 1963. Let's talk about Motown for a minute. You get into 1964. From 1964 on, the flagship artist of the Motown. We had Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. You had Stevie Wonder. They were real big, but there was the Four Tops, the Temptations, and the Supremes. The Supremes had, was it 10 #1 hits in the 60s? Berry Gordy really threw his lot in with the Supremes. Of course, he had an affair with Diana Ross before 1964. You get into the early 60s, Motown starts to crank up just a little bit. Not as big as they were in the late 60s, mid to late 60s, when Holland Dozier Holland, the songwriting team, came into play. But you had Smokey Robinson and the Miracles charting in the early 60s. I'll Try Something New was one of their hits during that era. Shop Around was a real big early Motown hit. Mary Wells, You Beat Me to the Punch. Two Lovers. 61, 62, 63, Mary Wells, popular in the early 60s, a flagship Motown artist back then, and there was Marvin Gaye, also in the early 60s, and the Marvelettes, the Lost 45, I want to play by the Marvelettes from the week, Billboard's Hot 100, April 27th, 1963, at number 44 that week, Locking Up My Heart. Gladys Horton was a member of the Glee Club, lead singer of the Marvelettes, when she formed the band or the group at Inkster High School. This was at Inkster, Michigan, which was near Detroit, and they signed with Motown, the Motown Tamla label, in 1961. And then they had this rousing #1 hit, Please Mr. Postman, covered by the Carpenters in the mid-70s. And it looked really promising at first. They had some jams. Beechwood 4-5789, a classic girl group record, just right off the bat. Too Many Fish in the Sea, another hit for them, which was later covered by Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. And but they kind of fell off in the mid-60s as Berry Gordy was putting all of his energy into the Supremes as far as the girl groups were concerned. He had an affair with Diana Ross, and but Gladys Horton actually Gladys Horton left the Marvelettes in the mid '60s, and they had that huge hit "Don't Mess with Bill" in 1966, and that was about it for the Marvelettes. I believe they also did My Baby Must Be a Magician because, oh God, I love that song because he had the magic touch from late 67, early 68. Yes, I love that record. Marvelettes classic though, but that was after they had gone through some personnel changes. By 1969, the Marvelettes were no more. That's about all I got to say. Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes died in a nursing home about 4 years ago. She died, well, she had several strokes, and she was in bad health for a number of years. Not sure what year she was born. There's some controversy about that, but she was in her mid-60s, just in her mid-60s when she passed away. Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes. Lost 45 from the week of April 27th, 1963, from 46 to number 44, Locking Up My Heart. Marvelettes.